Bang! Neeves Knives, I'm Jared, and today we have some new Finch knives. Now, up until now, the Finch Harvester has been my favorite. Finch, 154 cm blade steel, stainless steel frame lock, micarta scales, titanium milled pocket clip, and it has incredible action. And I love this blade shape. I did a full review on it. This thing works so good as a tool. I absolutely love this knife. Now, if you don't know, it has the shield. They all have the shield, which if you zap it, does glow in the dark. Let's get into these. So we're going to save the best one for last. So here we have a clip point blade, big belly, straight clip point. Yeah, big belly, straight clip point in 14C28N. And this is the Halo. Blue and yellow G10 with, it looks like a titanium milled pocket clip again. Very ergonomic, feels very comfortable in the hand. You do have the flipper, which you can choke up on, which I do appreciate about a lot of the Finches. It is a liner lock. Detent is solid. That's one thing, man. These Finch knives, the action is incredible. You don't expect them to just, they feel so premium. Very, very smooth. I can easily reverse flick it, especially with the coating. Access to the liner is really good, so I'm happy with that. Happy with the flipper tab. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I will say the flipper tab kind of pushes me back a little bit, but it doesn't matter because I can always creep up on top of it. Yeah, even in the reverse grip, pretty comfortable. A little bit slim. I'm not a big fan of the blue and yellow G10. It's not really my style. But, you know, I think it's pretty cool. And it seems like a knife that would function really, really good. Man, these things are so smooth. Is there a liner on the other side? Yeah, we do have a liner on both sides, I think. Yeah, we have a liner on both sides. So it does have, you know, a good, strong feeling to it. We have a regular stop pin. And the lockup is rock solid. Yeah, very awesome. Let's check out this next one. Now, this next one I like a little bit more than that one. And then the last one is my favorite. Here is another Wharncliffe. So let me pull out my Finch Harvester. They're not completely similar, but they have some similarities, and I like that. This is a Wharncliffe blade shape. This one's more of a modified sheep's foot because it has a straight edge like a Wharncliffe, but it angles down. So when you're using it, like it traps materials like you'd expect from a recurve or like a hawkbill or something. So this is a great blade shape, man. I can't express that enough how useful this blade shape is. Now this one is a little bit different because it doesn't cant down, but you get all the benefits out of a Wharncliffe because it is a Wharncliffe. The geometry, or you know what, the blade steel is 154 cm. I love 154 cm. I love 14C. So far, great steels. Now, this one has a stone wash and then a satin. So it has a satin that runs side to side, or, you know, similar to like a hand satin. I'm not sure if it is. And then it has a stone wash on the flat grind. Stainless steel frame lock again. Milled titanium pocket clip. Great access to the lock bar. I love that about these Finch knives, man. They do good access to the lock bars. Very smooth on the drop. Snappy action. The fuller is easy to reverse flick. Same thing with this one. I don't think this one could replace this one because they are different, even though they have some similarities. But nice and comfortable in the hand. I can use it any direction. Pinch grip is probably going to be the primary. Very, very smooth. Yeah, very, very cool. I like this wood too. The wood scales, because it's a bolster lock. They look really good. Now, all of these knives, by the way, I should have said this, come in different configurations. Like even this one does come in the wood. It comes in, I think, a bone, or maybe not, but they do have different versions. So just so you know. So the name of this one is the RECIPROCITY. Should have said that from the beginning. So RECIPROCITY. Very cool. Now, let's check out the next one, which is my favorite one. This thing is a straight chunker. Now, this is the first titanium Finch I've tried. I think it's the first one they've made. So it is a titanium frame lock, 154 cm. Buffalo Tooth is the name of this one. And I don't know if it looks like a buffalo tooth, but I like the name. That is a very, very cool name. So it is a flipping action, spear point blade, big belly spear point. So this is a fat, chunky spear point. We'll go more into the usefulness of this and how useful or not it is here in a second. The titanium scales look really nice. It has like a faux bolster on it with the milled titanium, and then it has a milled titanium pocket clip, solid scales. This thing feels beefy. It is nice and thick, so in the hand it fills it up. Now this could be a little bit chunky for some people. It's right there on the verge for me. Yes, it's very comfortable in my hand, but I can tell if I'm really squeezing and bearing down, these edges it's a little bit wide. But, it's also very, very comfortable in the same breath. So, I'd be able to use this very, very well, nice and comfortably. Access to the lock bar, really good. Very smooth on the drop. You have the flipper tab with nice jimping on the flipper tab, by the way. Beautiful jimping. Well done. And then when you open it, the jimping also goes right there on the front of the flipper tab, like most of the Finch knives. Now, the spear point blade looks like it has a hand satin on it. The way the direction the satin is going, it looks like it's been done by hand. Now, this blade shape. Now, in my opinion, this is not going to be as useful of a blade shape as more of a narrower spear point. And the reason why is because a spear point, one of the beauties of a spear point, and I'm not saying they all have to be this way. There's lots of big belly spear points. I have a few of them, and I love them. I absolutely love them, and they are very, very useful. But because there's so much meat from the edge and the spine going down to the tip, it makes it to where it's not really acute. So yes, this thing can do utility cuts, but it's never going to be able to do a utility cut as good as a narrower one that's not as thick. So where you don't have as much steel behind the tip trying to penetrate whatever you're trying to do the utility cut on. However, this one, it's going to slice really good. It's nice and broad, which is going to make it pass through materials really good. It's not a hollow. It is a flat grind, but the geometry feels like it's pretty good. It's not a thick blade stock, relatively thin, a slow taper down to the edge, but still seems like it'll pass through materials really good, and you still get by with doing utility cuts. And it seems like a knife that, and I'm not saying do this with your knife. I'm not saying that, but this seems like a knife that could possibly do very, very light duty prying well. So I'm not telling you to do that, but now one thing I wish about the Finch knives, there's a couple things. Well, one, on this particular model, I wish this fuller came out a little bit more. I can get it, but it's not easy. I slip off of it most of the time, so I wish that was out just a little bit farther, or maybe the scale was cut back just a little bit more so it wasn't quite as thick. That way I could get right to it and pop it out. Oh, I love that. But I still love it just the way it is. So love it the way it is. But the one thing about the Finches that I would change, though, is the sharpening tool and plunge grinds. I do not like the plunge grinds. I do not like the sharpening toils. They do make it to where you will create a smile. You can already see it from the factory. They already have a smile starting. Now, this one you can kind of sharpen up the blade, but you are going to hit the plunge grind. Now, ones like this, they gave you like one sharpening off of it before you'll hit the plunge grind. Nah, maybe not. If you lower back the angle, yeah, you're going to hit the plunge grind. So what you're going to do is you're going to wind up sharpening back here, trying to sharpen it. Same thing with this one. Now, this one you can see like it's a little bit thicker right there because the plunge grind hits the edge. So I do not like that. I like plunge grind separated from the edge, which makes you have the ability to sharpen your knife very easily and for it to look good afterwards. That way you don't have the fear of sharpening your knife and making it look used and, beat up or anything afterwards. It'll look still nice, fresh, and clean after a nice edge, and you don't have to worry in the future about sharpening it. It just seems like, the life of the knife lasts a lot longer, especially with the way it looks when it's new. T6 hardware, I'd love to see T8s, but all in all, these knives are so badass. They're so well done. I really, really like this titanium one. I'd love to see some more some titanium bolster locks. Yeah, very snappy, man. The action on these things. This one is stupid smooth. But yeah, there you guys go. Just a quick look at the new Finch knives. Now, does any of these fill the spot for this one? I don't know about that. I haven't tested them yet, so we'll see. But I will say though, I've gotten really close with this one. This one has been such an awesome knife for me. This one and this one could possibly take its spot. We'll see. I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.